Hello, everybody. We are live at the DSA, and we want to welcome you to the round table tonight. We have JMO's here in the house with us. How you doing, man?
Man, what's good, man? What's good? Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. It was good, man.
Yeah, everything's going really good for me today. Had a couple good interviews earlier. I think I told you. All
Oh
right,
yeah, you
Rachel.
definitely did.
Rachel, what's up?
Hey guys, how are you tonight?
Really, really good, really good. Hook cam, hey, how's it going? DMAP Zoom, Devin 99, Alexander Kimura. We got all kinds of people here. All
Kool-Aid and
right.
cornbread in the building.
Yep. And we have Andrews here with us too. What's up, man?
Hey man, how's it going?
And we have Nomus with us today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
Really good. Luke, are you there?
I am here. I am still on the clock, people. So I'm trying my best to work and still talk some Detroit Lions sports with you.
That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. All right, guys, let's get right into it. Let's get those likes up, everybody. We appreciate you and we appreciate that. Our first question tonight, it's Damon Snatch, and we have to make sure we say that now. Snatched the money and ran.
Yeah, he snatched and ran.
Said he avoided talking to Bob Quinn. He avoided his phone call because he didn't want to come to Detroit. He actually wanted to get out of the trade. What does this say about Detroit's perception, the perception of Detroit, the city, and the organization by the players in this league? And I'm going to go to you first, Luke.
To me, when I first saw this, and I thought, okay, I know we had the conversation with Andrew and Real and J-Mo, and then I was like, okay, and then Snacks came out and further elaborated. My first thoughts were that they put Snacks on Front Street. Like Snacks didn't know that they was going to come out, but then he doubled down and echoed what Diggs had said and what Slay had said. And one of the biggest reasons he said he didn't want to come here was because of all the things that he had heard from previous players. And I'm like, yo, when you have a stigma that has been attached to you in a way that makes it so previous players are going back talking, it's going to be hard for you to get them. This explains why we're overpaying for free agents. This is explaining why most people who come here only come here if they're looking for a payday. And the biggest thing that it explains is this: how much these players be lying when they say, "Oh, I'm so glad to be a Lions fan," and to be, you know what I'm saying? You know how everybody who comes be like, yeah, they just straight lying about it. And it was really sad because it was like, yo, you know, you're still getting paid millions of dollars. They give you a new contract, and it lets you know that they'll say whatever. And so it sucked because it was like, what are people going back saying? Yeah. And who are the people that saying it? You know, so it's hard, and I think it's going to be rough for us to get people.
I agree with that. Oh, what do you say, Andrew?
Can you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Damon Snatch Harrison said he avoided taking Bob Quinn's phone call because he didn't want to come to Detroit. He tried to get out of the trade. What does this say about the perception of Detroit as a franchise, as a city, as a destination by other players in the league?
So I have like a serious problem about this because everyone that talks about Detroit always bashes us. And I don't care if it's NFL, it's ESPN, it's whatever. Everyone hates Detroit as a city. But when people actually come to Detroit, whether it's, you know, the Pistons, whatever, people actually love being in Michigan. You know, we have 4 seasons. There's a lot to do, you know, and I just don't understand where this comes from. Let's say, you know, Snacks goes out there and he bashes us, right? And all this is happening behind closed doors. You know, whoever these people are is happening behind closed doors. So how is it that every single person knows, well, the Lions have a bad organization? That doesn't come from just players. That's people above them that have to be spreading that, because players can't spread something like that quickly, let alone to everyone. Like it just physically doesn't make sense. So there's something more going on besides just, you know, Snacks saying that or something. And, you know, someone commented in the chat and they said, well, he signed an extension. Yeah. I mean, that makes no sense. So clearly they're just butthurt. You know, you're not going to go sign an extension for a team you hate. Same thing with Slay. He wanted an extension. We signed Diggs to an extension. So these guys, if you really didn't want to play for Detroit and there were serious problems, why wouldn't you hit free agency? That makes no
my
sense
problem
at
with
all.
Snacks is, though, that he did get the extension. He got what he was looking for, and then when he left, he still didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. It's just my opinion on that one. We'll go to Rachel. What do you think about this?
I was thinking about this earlier today, and I don't know if it says as much about the perception of our front office and coaches as it does just people not having interest in the effort that it takes to change a culture. Like, some people would rather step into a winner, some people want to get paid, but they don't care about helping build up a team that's historically a losing franchise. I think that takes a special person. I think, and I don't think that there are many of them out there anymore. A lot of the times, even when it is about the money, some people don't, whether it's they don't want to come and lose or they don't want to be a part of a historically losing franchise. You can see that they get here, they get bolstered by the fans a little bit, and they start kind of feeling good. But when the wins don't come, they're saying a lot of different things than they were, when they kind of stepped right in the door. They're excited about the money. Next thing you know, they're having a losing season. Other people are complaining. So it becomes like, well, I hear people complaining and this team also loses a lot and I'm not about it anymore.
Right.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head with that one, because I think people complain about New England, but they're winning. So, like people complain about a lot of teams, and their ability to win is what I think has changed.
Yeah, that could be too. But see, now here's my thought a little bit on this is he's not the first guy to do this. He's not the first guy to say this, and not even in a week. We had Insta Slay and Insta Diggs out there and all that stuff that was going on. And I'm like, okay, is it one person whining? It's not. It's more than one. And generally in that situation, I think that it's possible that when there's smoke, there might be some fire here. What do you think, JMO?
I think our culture is pretty bad, and it's extremely bad when Snacks feels comfortable enough to even talk about the fact that he didn't even want to be here, to the point that he was getting the calls and he was hiding from his phone and he was trying to find a way to get out the deal. The fact that he even feels comfortable enough to even say that after he was already here, because there's a lot of players that leave, but they don't say stuff like what Snacks did. And I'm upset with Snacks, but at the end of the day, man, I'm just trying to leave it alone. I'm just tired of these players constantly talking about us and everything that's going on with the Lions. He clearly wanted a money grab. I mean, he begged for that contract and he begged for that contract and he posted all of these stats for that contract. And when the season started, he was hot garbage. So, yeah. and then you want to blame that on the coaching and stuff, but we had the same coaching staff when we traded for you. You were playing just fine. So what happened? I know the philosophy didn't change. I know the defense didn't change. So all I can say is your performance decreased, and we had other injuries on the defensive line. But it's not a good look for the Lions, really, because players feel so comfortable talking about the ways they don't like us, talking about the ways that they can bash. It's just like we that team that it's like they get a smile on their face to talk about their horrible experience here if they had one, or just to put some negative light on us. It's like they so giddy and so excited to do it. And man, I'm just tired of these players, man. Just keep our name out your mouths, man.
Yeah, they're drinking haterade for sure. What do you think about this, Nomas?
Don't get me wrong. I understand where everybody's coming from. Well, first things first, with the whole money scenario, hey, you give me, if I'm a football player, you give me $20 million to come play with the Miami Dolphins. I'll say this team has the most talent than the last team I played for, Dominican Suit. And and they end up not doing well at all. They end up not doing well that year defensively at all. And he was the big money grab. My thing is with Snacks though, he actually stated on Twitter that it wasn't the scheme that was the problem. He said it just didn't fit him. He said it was actually a good scheme. He said it just didn't fit what he wanted to do. Now that's what he's saying is what it is, regardless of what you want to believe.
No,
What's up?
but see, Snack's been on both sides. He'll say Matt Patricia's a good coach, and then he was a bad coach. He'll say the scheme was working well, and then he'll say the scheme was bad. He's been
Facts.
saying
It's
both
true.
sides.
He's been
like,
going
this
back
whole
and forth.
time. Go ahead, no.
Yeah, I feel you. Like I said, that's what I said. I'll just leave it to you feel how you want to feel. But at the end of the day, when you got other people coming out saying bad stuff about the organization, you got to remember what happened with Calvin Johnson, what happened with Dominican Sue. They all left the organization and said something about the front office too. And when you have people like them coming out, knowing the Lions' reputation, what that to me says is that it's about time for the organization to change their ways, or otherwise this is going to keep happening, whether it's a big name player or not. I know what I'm saying. I understand how the fans feel, and I understand how the players feel, and we saying, hey, let it go. But you can't blame the players for saying that. Hey, if I go to a job that I personally don't want to be in, had no say so on going to, and everybody's wondering if I'm gonna stay, I'm gonna ask for like a little pay increase too. Like, okay, I'll see. Maybe give me a little more money, and I'll see if we can work together. If not, if it don't work out, yeah, I'm gonna be ready to go. And that's kind of the scenario he was. So it's like I'm not choosing his side. I'm just kind of in the middle.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Go ahead, Rachel.
You know what's unfortunate in the whole situation is that the players that don't feel this way, the organization still wants them to kind of stay hush hush. The organization wants to be above it. We don't address this. I'm sure they don't really want their players addressing it and that type of thing. And I think that we lose out in that instance because I would like to hear what the players that don't seem to have a problem with it think.
What do you mean you don't have a problem with what?
I think she owns something that I didn't even think about, but I think she owns something. Because you're right, with as much heat that's coming out against this head coach, it does seem odd that nobody who's still here is willing to come out and be like in masses and be like, man, this is a great coach. The problem was not the coach, it was this, or the problem was not this, or it was that. You're not seeing that.
No, you're not.
Yeah, defend your team, man. I want to see some of our guys defend our team for once.
Yeah, I do too.
You gotta read between the lines because when Clay went on First Take, he literally said this year was better than last year, even though the record was what it was. But we know that record is only what it was because Stafford was hurt. So it seemed like there was some growth in some areas. And for Slay, for as much as he hated Matt Patricia, if we would have opened up the bag, he would have stayed here. And to me, that's just real hypocritical. Like, where are your principles at? So if we pay you, then Matt Patricia is great and I love him. But if we don't, the organization was trash. He told me to do this and that. It's just real fake to me. I don't like it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to address this one because this has been keeps coming up in the chat. It says there's rumors that the Lions are getting Desmond King. Do you think that's going to happen? I want to say no. I don't really want it to happen because I don't know where the heck he fits in this defense. He's basically a slot corner. I don't think he's going to play outside. We already have Justin Coleman. I'm not really sure where the guy fits. Anybody else want to take this one on?
He plays safety too. He wasn't just a nickel corner.
Yeah, but we have enough safeties too, though.
I know, and that's where it gets weird at. This is one of the reasons why I don't think that the safety that we added are deadlocks. None of the deals that they got are long term or nothing like that. Yes, they got $4.6 million on the books for Hardman, but it's a 1-year deal. They didn't re-up on him.
Right.
And then you brought in Curse from Minnesota, but they didn't give him no big deal to come here.
Special teams.
Yeah, so it's like I think it depends on what they're going to offer us. It's what we can end up getting, but I just don't see how that. I
wouldn't do it
happen.
for him. I mean, this is just my personal opinion. I wouldn't do it for him. I don't think it solves a need for us, and I don't want to move down for that player. That's just my opinion. Anyone else want to weigh in on that one?
That depends though, because you got to look at it from this standpoint. Last year we had one legit deep safety, and then was Quandre Disney. He got traded.
Yeah.
So if you get Desmond King here, you get a guy who can play across from Tracy Walker, who is a former Pro Bowl, and then you have Deron Hammond to back Tracy up, plus another box safety like Curse. So that's like 4 safeties right there.
I get it, but is that really? Couldn't we draft the safety? I mean, I don't know if it's worth that pick though. That's what I'm saying.
No, man, I'm gonna tell you what it is. This is just another scenario they made up, and they made it sound good, so they think fans will eat it up. I don't know where they're getting any of this information from, and I really don't trust it. We are not trying to get no Desmond King. Like, will y'all stop? But I just don't understand. Like, I'm just saying. So
That's
he
why I'm
isn't
not
the
even
one that
talking about
plays
it.
Right.
right. No. But he isn't the one that runs back kicks too, or was that
Yeah,
another
he
part
runs
of the
back
training?
kick. Yeah, he does.
Okay, that I was about to say. I just remembered that he ran back kicks, so that might be something
But
that
we
they're
have
looking
somebody
at.
to
But
do that. We
yeah,
have
I
Agnew,
don't.
right?
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't see us doing this at all. Like I just don't know when we do all of these trades and players are involved. Why are we always getting like not the best players?
I
We
agree
always
with
get these
you. I
sideshows and stuff like that. And I'm not saying Kamara's a sideshow. He definitely is not a sideshow. But why can't we get Lattimore or somebody better? Like we always getting Desmond Kings. Like what about Casey Hayward? Like what about Melvin Ingram? Why can't we get none of the great players?
right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When Desmond King was coming out of college and the Lions were sitting there, I forgot who the player we took instead of him. I was livid because that player not even on the team no more. And I remember thinking that this is a guy you could bring in, play safety, return kicks, play slot corner. I'm like, he's perfect. And for
Mhm.
some reason we didn't take him. Plus, to be here in his hometown, you're gonna get the most out of him. This is one of the
I
reasons
agree.
this is one of the reasons why I used to always get mad at the University of Michigan because I would be like, you realize you're going to get players to play harder when you got them right next door. Like that's the secret. Like, but to me, do I think it's possible for them to get Desmond King in the trade? It depends on what you're giving us included in that trade. Because I think that trade was also brought up in terms of like that to move up to 3. So you had to give us more than Desmond King in that first to move up to 3.
I agree with that. And in any other situation, if we didn't sign Justin Coleman to all that money, that's part of my reasoning. I could see him at safety. I really could. But we have somebody to kick return and things like that. I'm saying, would he be an upgrade at safety? Yes. But couldn't we get a safety in the draft that might be an upgrade, or maybe in this
Well,
when
I'm
people
not
cut
sure he'll
people?
be an upgrade though. How good is he at safety? He mainly plays slot corner. That's his best position.
Oh, he was
So
lights out for
he'll
the
be an
Chargers at
upgrade.
safety. He was dope for the Chargers at safety. I'm telling you, man. Listen, when all them people went down, Derwin James went down, and he filled in. He was nice. He was phenomenal. I watched him, and it's maybe because I'm a fan of him. I watched him. He did a really good job at safety, and he did the same thing at Iowa. So I just saying, Desmond King ain't no slouch. He
Oh
certainly
no.
ain't no Tavon
I mean,
Wilson.
we got Harmon though. Harmon had a great year at safety last year too. So it's
Hey,
just
the more
more
the
of the same.
merrier,
Can we
though.
get some impact players, man? It's just more of the
I
same.
feel
You know?
like I said, I'm in the middle with it. And at the end of the day, I think I also read that with that package though will come a second round pick as well, from them as well, and I think a draft pick for next year too. So I don't know.
No, that's not enough.
The problem is
Still
that
not
like
enough.
he's a great player, but they're gonna want our 3rd overall pick. And even if they give us their 1st overall pick in Desmond King, like that's not enough, dude. I want a couple 1st rounds, maybe a 2nd, whatever. Like he's not a bad player. It just logically makes no sense to go out and get him.
Yeah, totally agree with you guys. All right, we're going to go back to our questions, and this is another one where we're talking about Damon Harrison again, and it's kind of like, what is this? From that article, we find that Patricia was using Snacks as a 3 technique rather than a route stuffing 0 tech, which he's better at. We saw all this decline in production and stuff, and do you think this was affected by his misuse? And also, what do you think of Patricia based on this, on how he used Snacks? That's kind of that line of questioning there. What do you think about the use of Snacks Harrison last year and how that affected him? I'm going to go to Rachel.
So I looked a little bit further into this today. It turns out he was actually used about 50-50. So 426 snaps at 3 tech and 454 at nose. So even slightly more snaps playing at nose. And according to him in his own interview, he said that was to accommodate his concerns surrounding the difference, how they were using him. But he also said that he wasn't prepared for the season mentally right off the start, even stating that he worked himself out of shape. And I'm quoting this because he wasn't doing anything, which I'm not really sure what that means. And he spent that time to train focused on facilitating a trade, in his own words. So, I mean, he says that Patricia accommodated him, changing his snap count from what Patricia originally had planned. And I mean, I don't know if I think that the misuse was the biggest factor to me. Just all that being said, just looking a little bit deeper into it, it seems like Patricia was kind of trying to work with him. And I mean, I don't know.
No, that was a good take. That was a good take. You did your research, and Luke is proud, right, Luke?
When Rachel talk, I'll be listening, right? Because
Rachel, I'm going to you next anyway, Luke.
I noticed that like a lot of times, me and Rachel would say something and be like, "I ain't think about that. Thanks for ruining up my thought process." So, because I think it was her who broke out and was like, "What if they hacked the whole thing?" I'm like, "Why would you go and say that?"
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, no.
Like, why? No, I mean, but the truth is this: it's an indictment on the head coach. It is. Your job as a head coach is to get everything you can get out of a player. And to me, the first thing that I noticed is, yes, she is right. It was between 50-50. That part of it is all true. There's no arguing that. There's no disputes. But at the end of the day, the biggest issue for me was his snap count. And his snap count percentages went up way too high. Before he came to Detroit, he was only doing about 39 to 40, maybe 45% of the snaps. And all of a sudden, they got him doing 69% of the snaps. And what that tells me is he's on the field way more than he needs to be. And in his own words, let me take that back. In his own words, and him verifying what Slay and Diggs said, he said that his thing was he don't like playing 3-tech and all them shades and stuff because it doesn't give him his best chance to succeed. He says 0-tech, which is directly over the center, gives him the best chance to do what he do best, and that's beat up on the center. He said the problem with 3 technique is the guard is further back, and he's not really good at getting off the ball. His words, not mine. And so you think about him doing that different movement around there, there was no versatility, so why have the Lions trade for him in the first place without knowing his limitations? And two, why increase his snap count knowing that it's going to cause him to be kind of burned out soon?
That's truth. It's truth right there. It's difficult. What do you think? What do you think there, Andrew?
See, Luke, I love your take, man, but I have a serious problem with that because you're telling me that this dude was on the Giants and played roughly 1 out of every 3 plays defensively. And then we asked him to play 2 out of 3 plays defensively and he can't handle it. That's complete crap, dude. You're literally an NFL player. And the fact that he was bitching about an extension all offseason and then showed up, didn't do any workouts, was late to OTAs, was late to everything, and then he came in and you're telling me you can't play every other snap pretty much? You can't play 2 out of 3 snaps. That is pathetic, dude. You're an NFL player. You can't play 2 out of 3 snaps, let alone, yes, I get it. You're better at 0-tech. But we had like 2 defensive tackles healthy at any given time. Hand was hurt. Mike Daniels hurt. A-Shine got banged up. Snack got banged up for a little bit. Who are we supposed to put in the middle? We had literally nobody, bro. Like, you have to do your job. Big whoop. You got to play 69% of the snaps. Like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard because you're not playing 100% of the snaps like a lot of players in the league or even 90+%. You're playing 2/3 of the snaps and you can't get it done. Like, it's ridiculous, man. And you showed up not ready. You were unconditioned and all this stuff happened. Like, I think it's just a bunch of crap.
No, listen, I think you make a very good point. But if you listen to what I said, my only viewpoint was this is what he was doing. This is when he had his most success. First, second down, and you take him out and let everybody else get after him on third. This is how he got the name. This is how he earned that run stop ranking. The Giants played him on first and second and took him out. He's not a Dominican Sue. He's 330 some pounds.
But Luke, when you do the math though, if you play first and second, you don't play third. That is literally 66% of snaps. That's pretty much playing exactly what he did.
No, true, but it was different. What I mean by that, it was different because you got to keep in mind on the Giants, he wasn't on the field that much. He wasn't on the field because once he did his job, they teed off for him. You got to remember that Giants defense had Jason Pierre-Paul, Vernier, him. They had him, and you got to keep in mind they used him on run for the first and second down. And then even in those games, that's why the Giants was willing to move on from him because he was so limited. Which brings me to that other point of why would Quinn bring him in, or why would Patricia request this guy? Because he knew that he was a good run stopper. But he knew that run stopping ability was limited. You can't ask a run stopper to now turn pass rusher.
Yeah, but the problem, Luke, is that the first year he came over, we had no problem on the D-line. Our run defense literally doubled in production. People were running 140-something yards on us, and it went down to 70-something. But we had nobody to play interior on the D-line this season. Everyone was hurt. We brought in 7 D-linemen. I thought D-line was going to be our strongest group at the start of the season because of how many people they brought in. And then it was, McDaniels was out the entire freaking year. Hand came in for a game and a half. Ashawn went down for a couple games. Snacks got hurt a little bit. Trey Flowers took 6 games to even start getting things going. And then Austin Bryant was hurt the entire season. So you don't really have anyone left. So regardless of what he's good at or what he came in to do, being a run stopper, I get that. Dude, you got to make up for it. Would you rather bring someone off the practice squad and put them on the D-line, or bring your Pro Bowler defensive tackle and have him play a little bit more? I think it's ridiculous.
Well,
I ain't arguing with you. I'm just telling you how he got his success. He was not overly used in the Giants.
When he got over here,
let me hear what you have to say.
I mean, okay, I'm not about to try to disagree with anybody, but when he got over here, he was already kind of in mid-season form. And what I feel like what the Lions did with him, because he barely got any time to prep to get the scheme, I feel like they altered it to help make it more comfortable for him to be able to do what he needed to do. And then when it came to year 2, I feel like what the Lions did, it's kind of not fair. Okay, yeah, you're asked to do your job, and your job is normally to be a run stopper. This team has to use you for the best ability that you can give them. So if you're asked to do stuff that you're not really good at, yeah, your production may not come off as good because it's not your fault that they got hurt and they didn't know how to replace the guys that you could help you rotate. It's not really your fault. I can't have the season be blamed on Kerryon Johnson because we didn't have a running back behind him that could, keep run game going or offensive line. Yeah, it's not really fair to the other players to put it all on him because he's getting paid the most money. If you're a draft pick, you're there to football. You can't force one guy to do everything. That's kind of how we used to do with Dominican Sue for a while before we got other guys in there to rotate with him for that 1 year until he left.
Yeah, because if you go through and look at the year if you go through and look at the year in Dominican Sue, because after they got rid of Jim Caldwell, they exclusively using Dominican Sue at D tackle, and he wasn't as effective. But when he was here with Jim Schwartz had D end, D tackle, zero technique, he was all over. And when you go through and you look at people like Richard Sherman, who came out and said, "Hey, it was a better fit for me in San Francisco because the way they do things culturally and the way they do things business-wise was a better fit for me system-wise." He wanted to be used a certain way so he can maintain his ability. You're not gonna ask you're not gonna ask a running back to all of a sudden now turn cornerback and stuff like that. So you got to be able to use them to their best strengths. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's not all peaches and roses on the football team. It's a war, and a lot of things happen. A lot of people get hurt. A lot of people have to step up. A lot of people are out of position. I mean, I could talk about how the first 4 weeks, Jelani Tavai was in position. He had as much help as possible, but throughout the season, he was out there in the fire and really had no help at all. And sometimes he looked out of position and he didn't perform. but that's because of the injuries. And Snacks knows that a lot of people was hurt, and you're not gonna always be able to be in a position to be successful, but you have to adapt. And I didn't know that Matt Patricia tried to like conform a bit and give him some snap counts as the technique that he would like, even though that's not what Patricia would like. I'm a little bit surprised to hear that he was trying to do that. But to me, it's just about like a different mentality of players. You know, of course, Tavai is a rookie and he's humble, so he doesn't really have an ego like that. But this is why Matt Patricia wanted to get rid of some of these guys. Look, I guarantee you this. Danny Shelton could have the same season as Snacks this entire year. But once he leaves, you won't hear him say a word about it. And I think that's kind of what Matt Patricia is trying to instill. But we know that Snacks might have been out of position, but he wasn't always out of position. Sometimes he was in position to make plays, and those plays didn't happen. And looking at the injuries, man, sometimes you just have to step up. It's just that simple, you know. It don't always work out that way, but sometimes you just got to step up.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely
Yeah.
true.
Yep.
We have 62 people in the chat, and we have 34, 36 likes. Can we get those likes up there, please? All right. That sounds good to me.
Right. Get them likes up. Listen, man. Listen, I want y'all to be clear. We talking Lions football. We doing this Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I believe Sundays too now, right?
Yep. Sunday
And
night.
Sunday nights. So we trying to give y'all fix. We're gonna be doing the same thing, getting this thing going for the NFL draft. We will announce to you the scheduling. Day one will be on my channel, and then we'll follow suit after that. But I'm telling you, get them likes up, man, because what this does, I'll put it this way. You guys putting those likes up had the Lions create their own round table. Where they do that at? That's because y'all likes came up so much when people typed in Detroit and the word Lions. They said, hey, these people over here own to something. So they created their own to try to do it. So just get them likes up so we can keep this thing going, and maybe because we know they listening. So let's get this thing up and see if we can get some change going on around here.
That's good. Thank you, Luke. All right. Next question is, the Lions have interviewed multiple quarterbacks. What do you think about that situation? And I'm going to go to JMO first.
No big deal. I mean,
no big deal.
I'm serious. This is what the Lions do. Like I always say, whenever there's any high-ranked player and they talk about the scouts that are there, the Lions are always there. Whether it was Trevor Lawrence, whether it was Tua, whether it was Justin Fields, the Lions, they just doing their due diligence, and they're gonna talk to quarterbacks. They still gotta, have some teams be, wary that they might take a QB, but they talked to a lot of quarterbacks last year and the year before. This is specifically what Bob Quinn does. I really don't think anything of it. I mean, if they take a quarterback, it'd be 4th or 5th round. But some of the, talking to Justin Herbert and Tua and guys like that, the only way I see them taking a quarterback is if we end up with a 3 second-round picks somehow or 3 first-round picks, then maybe we would take a quarterback. But other than that, I don't see that happening if we were to stay at 3. So to me, it's no big deal. The Lions doing their due diligence. We always do this. And I mean, Bob Quinn talked to a lot of quarterbacks last year too. So
that's true. He also, Bob Quinn said a long time ago that he believed in taking a quarterback a year in the draft almost. I remember him saying that. That was a while back, but I remember him saying that. So what do you think about this, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much on the same page with JMO in the fact that they always do this. I don't care what position it is. I don't care if you had, 10 running backs and all those running backs could potentially be Pro Bowlers. They're still going to look at running backs in the draft, So I get looking at quarterbacks, and I also get looking at the top quarterbacks. Because let's say we trade back with Miami. We take their 5 and their 26. Would I be shocked if, since now we have 2 first rounds, that they actually took Herbert or Love or someone with the 5th overall pick? No, I honestly would not be shocked at all, because I have seen them do some crazy stuff. And for them to do it, why not? There's a lot of talented quarterbacks. Let's say Stafford goes down. They still want to keep things going, like how the Saints did with Teddy Bridgewater. We have a very small window of opportunity. And if they think that's what they need, I mean, they're going to go out and do a lot of research on those players.
Yeah, it makes sense. Rachel, what do you say about this?
I'm definitely with them, and not to continue relating us to the Patriots, because I know a lot of people think we're already heading in that direction, the Detroit Patriots. But I think in this instance, do your job. And if you are Bob Quinn, your job is to assess these prospects in the draft. And if you don't look at every option, then are you doing your job? I think it's a great smokescreen, and I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's just doing his job. And I think to do it to the fullest of your ability is to take a look at everyone for, any potential reason. You never know if one of them might blow you away. I doubt that it's because he's specifically looking to take a quarterback, at least early. But I also think it helps that smoke screen. If people don't even believe that there's any way we get in the way of them taking a quarterback in that first round, then why do they trade with us?
Yeah, true. What about you, Luke?
You know me, I'm King Patty. If my guy ain't there and you ain't trying to trade with me, we're gonna see how you feel when your guy is gone. But I think what they're doing is, in all honesty, is the same thing Quinn said he's always did. He said years ago that they would look at a player, interview multiple players for no other reason than to have a profile. So if in the event that an opportunity at the right given moment come up, they can just go back to a file and say, "Oh yeah, I remember this, and I want to bring that player in." I think the smoke screen part is over with, because once they got Chase Daniels, I was like, and he got a nice little chunk of change. I was like, yeah, they're not taking the quarterback, and everybody know it. Plus, we talked about this last week that we could be wrong that these teams are all in on Tua. Maybe it is Justin Herbert that they are all in on. And to me, it's just him, like Rachel said, doing his job, building profiles. And if he's not doing that, he's not looking at every aspect, he's not doing his job. And then at that point, he should be fired.
Yeah, that's true too. Nomus, are you back?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your take on this?
On the whole smoke screen about Tua? Well,
no, we're talking about the Lions have interviewed a bunch of quarterbacks, and what do you think that means for the upcoming draft?
I think it's just a little. Actually, I believe it's a formality by Bob Quinn. This isn't the first time he's done this. I can recall several past off seasons where he will interview defensive linemen and wouldn't take one in the draft until like maybe the sixth round. I think it's just a formality on his end. I really do, because he, like Luke said, he want to go back for the records. And if you go back to the whole Joe Mixon thing, he was actually upset that they didn't have him come to the combine, because he felt it would cost other organizations, including their own, the opportunity to at least interview with him, see where his head is, and see what he's all about and where he's come from that issue. So that's just something that Bob Quinn does to make sure he gets a fair shot for everybody to be interviewed. I believe that's what it's about with him.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Well, we've all been clamoring for the guard position to be taken care of, and it looks like the Lions have put that one to bed. They signed Kenny Wiggins today. No, I'm kidding. Really, just gonna get a quick take on this wonderful move of putting a warm body at the guard position. Jeez.
Does anybody know his contract? Because I couldn't find it for some reason.
I couldn't find it.
I don't have it either.
I tried so hard to find that contract.
$5.99.
I wouldn't have paid that. I wouldn't have paid that. That's terrible, dude. Like, let's be honest. Why are we bringing this guy back? I mean, he's brought there to have some type of level of competition, but who is he supposed to compete with? The former first round pick Josh Garnett? No. Oh, bullshit. Who is he supposed to come in and really compete with? Like, go ahead.
No, I said that. I was about to say they brought him back so you can do a film session how he get blown up again by King Hicks.
Man, bro, listen, he was horrible. I just like they had to have seen enough of him. They had to have seen enough of him, and to give him another contract, it's like, listen, I would be surprised if he make the final 53-man roster or 55-man roster, whatever it is going to be this year. I would be surprised if
this year still.
I think it is 53, but I can't remember. But I would be surprised if he make this roster. And if he did, it's like he made the roster. Who they cut?
I don't know. Marcus
what,
Willis says 4 years for $50.
Stop playing with Mark. Hey, stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Y'all listen.
You know what though, Luke? It's actually not that bad as long as the contract is cheap. Because let's say he doesn't make the team, he has enough knowledge about our system that he can help other people that are not familiar with our system. So that adjustment period, like I'm fine with it. I mean, as long as they didn't spend big money or anything stupid like that, I'm fine with it because he can help others out, and it's another body at camp.
We'll put it this way: we got Odell Bushi.
Man, I am tired. Right, man. No, I'm tired of that cop out. Real. Because anybody can do that, man. I'm sick of Kenny Wiggins. He is utter garbage. I said he was utter garbage all last year. He proved me correct. Them signing Kenny Wiggins just make me think they don't give a damn about Matthew Stafford. We gonna sign every trash, average guard, and we gonna pit them all against each other.
You got me choking.
We gonna put them all against each other, and we gonna be like, all right, look, we know all y'all average, but I need to know who's the most average of the average. You okay?
Right.
This is the best of the worst. Is that what we're doing?
Guard at 3 don't sound too bad after all. Nah.
He said, I want to see who the most average.
You gonna bring back Kenny Wiggins? I'm very concerned. Like, y'all think I'm joking? I'm very concerned. Like, y'all really brought this man back like he can play? Like, Stafford, like, hey, man, I might be with Luke, dog. We might well just trade Stafford if y'all bringing back Kenny Wiggins, dog. Like, y'all ain't trying to win no football games.
Wait, did y'all see General?
I saw that.
The General
a single Newport and a bus transfer.
Single Newport and a bus He like just long as I can get my nerves down on the bus ride, I'm good.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
I had to put it in there. It wasn't one of the questions we originally had, but unfortunately, it's some breaking news. You can't even call it breaking news, really.
Kenny Wiggins.
It ain't even that. Okay. What are the Lions' major needs that need to be filled via the draft? I'd say guard if we just did that.
I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad
All
at
right,
you.
Luke, go ahead.
To me, they major needs still lie at the linebacker spot. I know we picked up a number of significant linebackers. If we mess around and trade down and get multiple picks and we walk away with Kenneth Murray, I'd still be happy because we got a linebacker. And that means that somebody like Christian Jones is probably getting the X. But the linebackers that we picked up, Elijah Lee, a special teams guy, more than likely he may not make the team. And then you go through and you keep looking, because they love Jalen Reeves-Maybin on special teams. They love Miles Killebrew, who they re-signed to play linebacker on special teams. So Reggie Ragland, he's not a lock. They didn't give him no long-term guarantee. This is a tryout deal he got. So to me, linebackers one, you gotta say offensive line is number one as well. If I'm taking somebody in the first round, they need to come in and hit the ground running. They can't sit, they can't wait, they can't develop. They need to come in and hit the ground running and make sure that when they hit the ground running, they understand that, listen, we selected you where we selected you for a reason. You need to come in and produce. That's how I see it. So offensive line and linebacker for me needs to be top priority.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go to Andrew. Same question. What is the Lions' major need that needs to be filled via the draft and why?
Yeah, I mean, Luke pretty much hit it on the head. I know a lot of people are going to say D-line, but I feel like linebacker is by far the most important position on the defense. But I'm going to say offensive tackle, man, because Stafford needs to be protected. I don't care how bad our defense is. I mean, not bad. I don't care how good our defense is. If Stafford goes down, our season's over. So I don't care if you get that star linebacker. I don't care if you get that star DN. Like, Stafford goes down, our season's over. So I want to see him protected, not only because, he has injury problems, but dude, like you need more time in the pocket. You need to establish a better run game. Just overall, if you can control the ball offensively, it makes it easier for your defense to do their job instead of them being on the field nonstop because you can't, sustain drive. So I want to see them address offensive tackle real early in this draft.
Yeah, my take is a lot like yours, Andrew, because it also helps us with the running game, which opens up a lot of play action, which helps Stafford so they don't get him killed next year. I mean, he's already had two instances with his back and carrying this team for years. I can understand why. So I just want to give a shout out to the chat. You guys are hilarious and very educated Lions fans.
Yes, they
can't
are.
stop laughing, man. Some of that stuff was amazing.
I'm reading the comments and I had to put myself on mute while I laugh. I'm like, what the hell?
So shout out to you guys. That was amazing. So I'm going to go to Rachel with the same question. Go ahead.
I think we're all on the same page here. We definitely have to shore up that O-line because, as we have seen, if Stafford goes down, so does our season. We got to keep him upright, and I think on defense, obviously, we're looking for pass rush in whatever form that takes. And the cause and effect relationship that has, it provides some relief for the secondary, just like you were saying, when you shore up that O-line, then obviously it you can run some play action. It can improve the run game. It's all the cause and effect things that I think we really, really need to focus on that helps everything past that.
Yeah, totally agree. What do you say, J-Mo?
I say we need to trade up to the number 1 overall pick and draft a guard. Like that's how
Kenny Wiggins got you a little bomb, huh?
No, we got it covered now. We got Kenny Wiggins.
Now you want to get a guard.
Y'all do not understand. I know we get the DSA, we grow, every month or two, but y'all don't understand how much disdain I have for Kenny Wiggins. Like he is garbage.
We're about to find out.
I would rather Christian Jones stay on this team if it means no Kenny Wiggins. And y'all know how much I hate Christian Jones. But it's the trenches. Yes, Jim. That's how I feel. I can't tell you. I can't stand this guy Kenny Wiggins. Like I'm scared. I'm terrified now.
It's funny.
He just keeps playing him getting blown up over and over
it's
again.
so funny. Every year, I swear. And I just how I met J-Mo. I always meet J-Mo. I met J-Mo the first time I met him. I said something crazy, and J-Mo was like, "Nah, I'm coming. I want all that smoke." And then he turned over, right? This year, I was like, look, they need linebacker. And I said, their second best option is going to be an offensive lineman. J-Mo was like, we ain't taking no lineman. We need some pass rush. I was like, J-Mo, listen.
What's a pass rush if you don't got a quarterback?
But then as soon as he heard Kenny Wiggins, he was like, man, do whatever you got to do to find a lineman if you picking up Kenny Wiggins. I don't care.
Bro, J-Mo just did.
It's just showing me, like, I know he might not make the team, but it's like, where are y'all head at? Like, why is he even getting another opportunity? And it just lets me know y'all must be really confused about what's going on with this offensive line, and I'm very scared. But besides that, the defensive line, like the trenches on both sides, O-line and D-line, really need to be shored up. I agree with Luke about the linebackers, but we still need another defensive end that I can trust, like Romeo Okwara. I don't know if he had a down year and he's going to turn back into a star or something, but he's not it. So really our only true defensive end is like Trey Flowers, So I need another reliable.
What about Austin Bryant? He don't count?
To me, he's a tweener. He's an outside linebacker and he'll pass rush. But to
me,
he's not like defensive end to me, like a pure defensive end. And we need help in the trenches on both sides. We need O linemen and a defensive end. I almost want them to take 2 defensive ends and 2 O linemen. I'm just scared, man. Like Kenny Wiggins,
J-Mo's triggered now, man.
Now listen. Motown Football says I think Big V is gonna play guard. I hope so. I really do.
Too. I was thinking
I hope he play. I really hope he play guard. And this is another reason why. Think about this. Just follow me on this, people. If they do trade down and go offensive lineman, which I'm telling you, if Isaiah Simmons is there, they're staying where they are, and they're taking it. People forget that they got trade offers last year for the 8th pick, and they turned it down to take T.J. Hockenson. Facts. If Simmons is there, they're going to say, you know what, we're taking this guy because he's so similar but faster than Jamie Collins. So just the first part. But if they take an offensive lineman and now your tackles are, let's say they move Dacker to the right, your left tackle is a rookie. Now they're going to put the rookie at the right. So they put the rookie at the right, Big V at guard, Frank Ragnow is your center. They'll add another, and I predicted this in my mock draft, that they're going to take 2 offensive linemen. They'll add another offensive lineman. You'll have a completely revamped offensive line. You can't beat that deal. If they get Cesar Ruiz to be the other guard and have it be Dacker, Ruiz, Ragnow, Big V, and whoever they take at the tackle, because there's some good tackles in this draft, you got to love that.
We're trying to
Sounds
forget
pretty good to
Wiggins.
me.
Let's get Nomus's take on this.
Okay, so first of all, before I even get my take, all y'all except Rachel owe me an apology because last few months I've been waiting for no, y'all, especially J-Mo.
I'm sorry.
Because I said we need to go offensive lineman in the first round. Everybody, no.
Hey, I'm sorry. Yeah,
my way anyway.
Now, listen, I'm sorry. Y'all hear it here first. I'm apologizing to him because I'm gonna tell you what I did when he first said it. Though I'm gonna tell you, it was so premature that I was like, wait a minute, we don't even know who or what is coming. And then I saw Isaiah. I was like, oh, you know what? Nope, we're not. That game he had against Ohio State, even though they lost, I was like, no, he's not going nowhere. No, we got to take Simmons. But then I said, well, wait a minute. If Simmons is gone, do we really need another D tackle? And I looked, and they don't carry a lot of D tackles. So you was right, Nomus. They needed an offensive lineman.
Now, here's the thing. We all talk about every year how we need to protect Stafford, but the other thing people don't understand about the offensive line, what it does is it gives your defense rest. And that offensive line is able to run block and pass block for this man. It keeps the defense a lot healthier because they're not burning themselves out all day because the offense is putting them back on the field. That's not the protecting the quarterback is not the only reason why you need an offensive line. It protects a lot of both sides of the ball. People don't realize that.
It sure does because it keeps them guys off the field and keeps them fresh. That's an absolutely awesome take, Nomus. Absolutely awesome take. All right, let's go to another question. Let me see. Where do we? I'm lost on my questions.
I got one. We put Kenny Wiggins at DT.
Hey,
we can put Kenny Wiggins at fullback.
Man, we put Kenny Wiggins on the street, dog. Like, what y'all talking about? I am sick of this, man.
Okay, we talked about this
Kenny
a little.
Wiggins train as long as he's on this team. So, like, for real, I'm gonna be trashing.
No, J-Mo's gonna derail the train.
Man, I trashed Chris Lacey so bad. I even said it on Twitter, and he responded, and I was like, "Yeah, I believe you suck. How you feel?" I was laughing so hard, man. So if Kenny Wiggins at me, I'm gonna be like, "Bro, you suck, bro. You the reason Stafford got hurt," and he's gonna be like, "Nah, leave me alone."
So we were talked about this a little earlier, and the Lions put out a round table with their offensive linemen. Right, T.J. Lang was kind of hosting it, and it had Ragnow and Tyrell Crosby, a few others.
All day.
What are your thoughts on this after we've been doing this for a while? Well, you guys have been doing it longer than I have, but you know what I mean. We're going to go to Luke first.
I love it. I do. People don't understand, man. The greatest form of flattery is imitation. Keep on doing it. That means that you see what's going on over here, which means that you understand that there's a call for some real lying information. This stuff that they be doing, like listen, believe it or not, I'll go to the Vikings official YouTube channel, I'll go to the Bears official YouTube channel, and I'll even go to the Packers official YouTube channel. They all do more fun and cool stuff than the Lions official YouTube channel. Like, we got a bunch of interviews with people we had no idea who they are. Who are these people? And so when they decided to do that, I got excited because I was like, I know y'all are watching. I know y'all are listening. Keep watching and keep listening because this fan base wants a certain particular outcome. And if you're not going to do it, there are people who are ready to step up and bring that call to the people who want it. So to me, I love that they did it. It's good for the Lions, it's good to change the outcomes because some people do research before they come here. They'll be able to see that thing and say, "Damn, look at the people in the chat and how the people love this team." So it's a good thing for me.
Yeah, it's a good thing. All right, what do you think, Andrew?
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet and just say I agree with everything Luke just said.
That's easy.
Wow.
Helps me to
That
go
was
right to
very
Rachel.
insightful, man.
Yeah, I'm on board with what Luke just said too. And I mean, honestly, hopefully, maybe they can break it down into other position groups too, and maybe that can help
Yes.
create some cohesiveness and understanding. Maybe it promotes a little bit better of a locker room culture. I don't know. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, people they don't realize this, Rachel. On the Vikings channel, before they play every team, they have people who go through and break down films and talk about the matchups and stuff. And I'm like, we don't do that. Our PR people for the Lions are horrible. Y'all talking about moving on from Matt Patricia and moving on from strength and conditioning coaches. Move on from the PR people who can't get us a decent product to look at on their channel. It's so embarrassing that they don't even show their sub count. I'm like,
Really?
go to the Lions. They showing it now?
Yeah, it's like at 27,000.
Yeah, they had at one point they stopped showing the sub count. I was like, what in the world is going? But go and look at their sub count compared to the Vikings, the Packers, and the Bears. And I know that the Packers and the Bears got more of a history, but still, we trying to, you got Packer Nation and Cowboy Nation. We got Pride Nation, and for us to have a bigger Pride Nation, give us something that we can go to in one central area and talk about this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it starts with that round table.
Does. I loved it. I'm gonna go to you, Nomis. I don't want to save you for last this time.
Okay. When I seen this up on Saturday, the first thing I said, "Wait a minute, did Luke get in contact with Ryan or something?" And I said, I know I didn't have anything to drink because I wasn't feeling good that day.
Right.
So I said, okay, me, part of me want to be like, well, no, it's just a coincidence. They just have to call it the round table. I said, man, it looks familiar though, the way these guys are there. But if they did watch us, then, I hope they really are hearing us. Because I'm like I said, everybody with Luke, yeah, I'm with them too. Like, we want to know what's going on with this organization. We want to know what's going on with them, man. It's about time for us to start winning. And, I'm glad everybody's, get connected, for the offensive line, but I need y'all to stay like that on the field for whoever's going to be starting.
Yeah.
For this quarterback. So it's good y'all doing podcasts, but I need y'all to do a podcast on saying, hey, what do we got to do to block for this man and keep ourselves healthy? They talked about that too, Nomis. On that podcast, they talked about that, like how are they staying in shape. I know Joe Dow said that he lucked up because he had just built him a gym at home.
Yep. Yeah, I heard that.
That's huge. Years ago.
That's huge, though. But I mean, just think about it, though.
Joe Dahl is a machine, though. Like he like one of them kids that used to be fat and pudgy, and then he turned into a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Like, his transformation is ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's look. Jay White said Luke just want any reason to bash the Lions. He a Seahawks fan. Nah, I'm telling you. And listen, I didn't even bash the Lions. I literally just said I love what they did because we need to have things that people want to see on there. Even when you go and watch their interviews, you can't hear the questions. Like I have to put the video through a program and then play with it on my soundboard so y'all can hear the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just get that part right. And I'm not bashing them. I'm saying they're making the right strides in that PR department to get us in the direction that we need to be in, because that's what it's going to boil down to, getting us in the direction that we can be in.
I mean, yeah, we making the right stride, but y'all gotta steal our name though. You gotta be called the round table. Only thing that I like about this is I like TJ Lane. Only because this dude is literally a Packer, but he rides with the Lions. I don't know why. It doesn't really make sense. I know
he's from Michigan.
I think he's from Michigan, yeah.
I know he's from here, but he played for the Packers for like a decade.
But he always wanted to come. He always wanted to come here, from what he said.
Yeah, but it's a little bit weird. It's just a little bit weird because he's one of the Packers' favorites in their last little generation. They love him there. So I love that he still associates with us a lot, even though he was only here for like a couple years, and
Right.
this isn't really his team. But just change the name and we cool.
Yeah.
Call it something else.
Don't steal our name.
Can't be calling it the round table. Come on, guys. I know you
Say,
guys
call it the blue table, call it the square table, the triangle
table.
Man, you better call it something, man. Chris Caswell said that they hearing this Wiggins just put out a hit on J-Mo. Well, guess what? I'll be able to get past you because you can't protect anybody anyway. So
Wow, that's how you feeling? That's how you feel?
Whoever you guys ain't gonna be able to hit me.
If you guys notice that Rory's a lot bigger this year, that's Kenny Wiggins.
Wow.
I mean, it's flattering though. But I'm.
Hey, why is Marcus
content? Go ahead.
Why is Marcus Willis Thompson? We gonna be salty when we realize Kenny Wiggins a Pro Bowl guard.
hey. Now, Primetime B is right. TJ did play at Eastern Michigan. Yes, that is true. And to me, listen, I'm not going to be so. Listen, I don't like Patricia, but if Patricia make it to the playoff or win a playoff game, I'm not going to be salty one bit. Not only am I going to be enjoying all the crow I'm going to be eating, I'm going to eat that crow with as much sugar, whatever you want me to put. I'm going to enjoy that crow. That crow, I'm going to have me a napkin on my neck. I'm going to just be sitting there eating that crow like yes. Yes, and then it's gonna be now do it again, because you gotta understand this is the first year where 17 make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that next year?
Nope, that's this year.
Next year,
nope.
17 games is this year.
No, not the 17.
No,
the 17
the playoff team in the playoffs. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Well, but see, that's why our goal shouldn't just be our goal should be the team that gets that 1 seed. Of course, it's far fetched, but if we can get that,
it should be our goal every year.
I'm just saying, but it's even more important now. Now the 1 seed is like it's a completely different level of prize possession than it was before.
Yep.
Like we need to find a way to get that 1 seed and win that one playoff game. But it's levels to it. So we'll see what Patricia can do. But I like the O linemen talking. I would love to see the receivers talk, but they're pretty busy with their own lives. But just change the name, TJ. Don't do that,
yeah. You can't keep that name. Okay, so there was another article that was written on a Seahawks page, and the writer is Tyler Asen, and he wrote an article about acquiring Quandre Diggs as a team captain for such a low price and how that happened. And so he cites the Snatch Harrison article saying that the Lions are a dysfunctional organization. Do you think the Lions are dysfunctional, or did they get rid of players who won't buy in? What do you think, Rachel?
So I'm sort of in the middle, but leaning more towards one way than the other. I think that regime changes can be dysfunctional. To say that the organization is, I feel like is almost unfair, just in regards to the fact that, when something doesn't seem like it's working out, we tend to move on. In the recent Lions history, a bunch of changes have been made. Not that has even worked out very well for the team. We've had, poor Matt Stafford's had to go through so many different coaches and different coordinators and whatnot, but that's because I think as an organization, and I'll even say as a fan base, we pressure them to make a bunch of changes when we feel like something isn't working. So it's almost like we're getting what we want, and then on the back end being like, oh, you're so dysfunctional. But that can either be called dysfunction or it can be looked at for what it is. And I think it's a team continuously trying to find their identity to get that hit, like to put all the pieces together, a locker room that doesn't have the chaos with the right set of coordinators and coaches, the right GMs and all the right players on the field. If you think that's dysfunctional, then sure, but it discredits their continued efforts. And I don't actually believe that there's a single team out there without dysfunction. In fact, I think this guy writing for the Seahawks is overlooking that there was dissension with the departure of the Legion of Boom. I mean, it's not like they can say that they haven't experienced dysfunction of their own. And I just think that, if you are a fan of a certain team, you know a little bit more, you see a little bit more. It's easy from the outside looking in to take all the negativity that you see in the media surrounding one team and just label it. But so, I can see where they're coming from, but I'm gonna go the opposite way. I'm gonna say I think dysfunction is everywhere. I just think that specifically right now, we seem like the most dysfunctional because we've got all these players leaving and talking, and it seems like a bunch of craziness.
It kind of does. It kind of does. What do you say, Nomus?
I agree with most of what she said, but the problem is this organization has always been dysfunctional. It goes way back in time with this organization, like probably even before Barry. Okay, that dysfunction is not the issue here. The issue is that they traded one of the guys who's considered to be the team captain. The fans, of course, are also to be known as dysfunctional because they'll hate you sometimes when you hear it, and when you get rid of them, then they hate the move or love it. They go back and forth. I think it's just the fact of the matter. Maybe the coach came in there, maybe he did rub a few people the wrong way. Maybe the players didn't completely fit the system, what they were planning, but I think it's the way that both parties, specifically the organization, handle things that can make situations worse. And when you look at their track record, that's why you can say that the Lions are dysfunctional. But at the same time, organization has to prove that they need to handle their business with dealing with their talent, the people that work for them, in a more respectful manner. And that goes for any sports organization, not just the Lions. They have to learn how to communicate properly. And I think communication is key. When you don't communicate, there could be trust issues that go between the players and the locker room as far as with the coaches and the GM. And then you have guys speak out. And this is things I was talking about in one of my old videos. I said the fan base used to, we used to love Darius Slay, but then as soon as, he starts speaking out, it's like, shame on you. He's a terrible person. But at the same time, when we bring in former Patriot players, we're talking about how these guys are yes men. It's like, which one do we want? So it's dysfunctional on the organization end, but the fan base also has something to do with it too. And then the players, they feel like this, hey, I'm just here to play football and get paid for it. We just want what's fair for us. So I think it needs to be communication. That's my way of looking at it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that as well. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think that we're getting rid of, like somebody said, that we're getting rid of leaders. If you want to come to Detroit, don't be a leader. I'm not sure that's the case, but I want to find out what Andrew thinks. What do you think, Andrew?
I mean, there's definitely dysfunction within the Lions organization, but there's also dysfunction in every single organization. You look at the Packers, there's dysfunction. You look at the Patriots, there's dysfunction. Like, there's not a single team that escapes it. But when you look back at things, I think people really hated the fact that we traded Diggs because he was a captain and he kind of came out of nowhere. As soon as we put him at safety, the dude was lighting people up. All I can remember is he hit AB and literally knocked him on his head. He made him do a flip, knocked him on his head. Like, Diggs was going crazy, And then, like, he got traded and people were upset and the locker room was disgruntled and this and that. But people also don't think about the fact that, well, when he went to Seattle, what happened? He didn't play for a couple weeks. Why? Because his injury was so much worse than people were reporting. I remember reading an article saying Pete Carroll's like, I didn't know that he had blood in his hamstring and this and that. And then when he came back and he started playing, everyone's like, oh my God, he got a pick six. Lions, you guys are so stupid. Like, cool, he had a pick six. He had a 2-interception game against Goff. If anyone actually watched that game, any single player on the defensive side of the ball in the entire league could have made that pick six. Anybody could have made that other interception because Goff played like complete crap. So, like, when you look back at things, it's pretty much, was this a smart move? Was this a bad move? And after time, you are able to tell that. And I don't think moving Diggs was a bad move. I was one of the most irritated people when it first happened. But with all said and done, I think it was a great move. And for them to know that this guy was causing problems, or, he was a lot more injured than it seemed, and then the whole Slate thing. I think it was a great move, but there's definitely some disorganization within our organization. I just don't think that the Diggs thing was part of it.
Okay, what do you think, JMO? Okay, just kidding.
No, I was about to say no because I've been waiting patiently. I think that we're the worst franchise in NFL history, so of course we're extremely dysfunctional. Losing comes with dysfunction. Dysfunction is with winning, but it's less dysfunction with winning and losing. And you a dysfunctional organization when you preach to the fans 9-7 not good enough, and then you go and get worse. Like Jim Caldwell was the most winningest coach with the Lions, and I really think he was an average coach. He made a lot of mistakes, but when we get that, which is, I guess, the best coach we technically had when it comes to not playoff wins, but just regular season wins, and then we downgrade to what we have. First of all, it shows me you don't know how to pick the right leaders. Martha Ford or Mr. Ford, when he was alive, they always was picking new leaders, and you kept picking new guys, but it never turned out any results. And that, to me, that speaks to dysfunction. All of this media storm with the Slay. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Patricia is causing a lot of this dysfunction, a lot of it, because from his coaching style to the way he's alienated players, to the way he's talked to reporters, to the way that people wanted to bring up old irrelevant stories about him. All of those things is in his dysfunction, and he's causing a lot of it. And I just feel like it, outside looking in, that's what a lot of people think. And what have we shown them to make feel any different? We haven't given them any evidence that we aren't dysfunctional. We lose all the time. The team apparently hates each other. Stafford is always quiet about it, and we just keep it moving and just keep losing and keep switching coaches. So I just think the Seattle Reporter think they stole Diggs from us in some a roundabout way. And that's not really what happened. We kind of gave them Diggs because we didn't want them anymore. We wanted to get some draft capital back. So I think he's thinking about it a little bit weird, but we're definitely a dysfunctional organization. We're the worst organization in the league. I don't mean to say it like that, but it's facts. And we have a lot of problems. And this is the thing. It shouldn't be we haven't had a running back. We haven't had an offensive line. We haven't had a quarterback. We haven't had a defense in 10, 20 years. You got to be able to adapt. And better organizations make changes. Better organizations like the Steelers, they go 8-8 when they lose their starting quarterback, not lose 8 straight. And I feel we do have a lot of work to do. And, of course, the fans play into it. But the only reason the fans act the way they act is because we don't do nothing but lose. So I just wish the leadership up top would find a better way to put the best people in position for us to have some success and not make mistakes. Don't tell us 9-7 not good enough and then not even reach 9-7.
Yeah, that's exactly. I don't know. You just nailed all of it to me, JMO. Okay, you get applause, man. I'm telling you what. Luke,
Well,
I saved you for last. Are you there?
I am here. I do not think. I think what I put it this. I don't think we are a dysfunctional organization. I think the way Rachel said it was perfect. Every organization has its fair share of dysfunction. I mean, from a Lions fan standpoint, it's like, oh, it sucks, but it sucks to be a Cubs fan, or it sucks to be a Cleveland Browns fan, or a Bengals fan, or whatever. There have been a lot of moments where you can go through the history. And so when I hear the word dysfunctional organization, that means that throughout this entire history, there has been a level of dysfunction. No, it hasn't been that. There's been moments where we've had it right, and then when the right failed, it didn't work. We didn't win after that 91 playoff when, it was a tough loss. But man, the Redskins beat everybody. They whooped up on everybody. And I just look at it and I say, to me, what's dysfunctional about sometimes making hard decisions? Like there was points where it was a dysfunctional. Matt Millen era, that was a dysfunctional time because there was nothing good happening there. But after that, it's been steadily driving up in the right direction. They moved on from Matt Millen to Martin Mayhew and Tom LeWan. That proved to get some things in motion. Then moving on from them to Bob Quinn, things tend to get some more things in motion. And then if you start to look at the coaches and stuff like that, I know that everybody believes that continuity, that every coach needs 4 years, but go tell the Bengals that, who had Marvin Lewis and couldn't do nothing. Sometimes you get much of the same, and I don't think that we're necessarily
You
dysfunctional.
don't think Patricia's added to it though?
No,
Because
I definitely think
I just
Patricia's
feel
added
like
to
I
it.
feel like when we had Caldwell, no, I won't say nobody cared about us, but they were just like watching from, oh, the Lions are going 9-7, they're cool, we're gonna leave. But now that we got Patricia, I mean, we've been getting like they've been taking turns on us for 2 years. Like it looks bad, man.
No, I mean, listen, I do think that Patricia is creating this thing. This is one of the reasons why I don't want him. But I'm just saying that to insinuate that we're just a dysfunctional organization would mean that we've been this way continuously, and we haven't. We've had spurts. The New England Patriots wasn't always a winning organization. They made one singular decision that made the most sense. Let my head coach be the general manager. They don't have a general manager. The head coach makes his decisions. And I'm being honest. I think for us to get the right coach in here, you're going to have to tell them, hey, you're going to be general manager and head coach. The Texans, they said, forget this. We're going to let the head. They're going to try what New England is doing. That's why they made Bill O'Brien the general manager. So, yes, to me, Kevin Johnson retiring falls on that previous manager. He should have been traded. But trading Golden Tate, that's not a mistake. Trading, Quandre Diggs for a fifth, it probably the highest price that we can get, but is it a mistake towards the team? I mean, did I want to see Tavon Wilson back there? Nope. But I still think that to say that the whole organization has been dysfunctional is not fair. I think Rachel hit the nail on the head. If everybody has a little I got dysfunctional family members. I mean, what does that mean? It means nothing. There's always good moments and bad moments. We're in a very long bad moment. But a lot of other teams have been in it too.
That's true. Like the Saints. We forget about them.
The Saints,
paper bags over their heads.
Yeah, keep going. The Saints started that.
They ain't.
The Saints. Remember when the Vikings wasn't good?
Yep.
The Vikings wasn't good for a period of time. I remember when the Falcons wasn't good for a period of time. I remember when Joe Montana left and the 49ers, while we got Steve Young, and Steve Young left, and they somehow ended up with Jeff Garcia, and then they was just okay, and then they just went straight to the toilet. Everybody had these spurts, but you got to be able to understand that you have
more spurts than everybody else.
Well, no, I mean, where are the people talking about how dysfunctional the Jaguars are?
Right.
Yeah.
They blew a whole team up this year.
I mean,
after blowing it up.
Dysfunctional. I won't say that they aren't.
Well, what about Houston?
I feel like we are right now. Houston is extremely dysfunctional, but it's because of their coach.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, why aren't they? I mean, I guess some people have, but it does seem like we're a target. It really does. But when you win 9 games in 2 years, I guess that's part of it.
We've done that before. We've won 2 games in 2 years.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, you knew at some point the difference is when they're going to target us extra hard because when you hire a Patriots assistant to the worst franchise in history, the Simias go, things are going to flip upside down immediately, and because he comes from the Patriots, and I think that's what helped drives it up too, is that because we are going for the Patriots system and way, and that's considered the best team right now in history, and then we're supposed to be worse. So I think that's what helped drives that.
Man, listen, some franchise wait a very long time to get to that championship game, to make playoffs and do all that and then some, man. It happens. I'm not excusing what our history is. I'm not. But I'm also not prepared to sit here and act as if though there are dysfunction is just the only dysfunction in this league. The Browns literally look at this team all year long. All year long, all you kept hearing about what they're about to do to everybody.
Yep.
Now they ready to take another quarterback. They added Case Keenum because they was like Baker ain't doing it. This is crazy. I just think that I feel
bad for the Browns, though. I feel like the media the Browns were talking, but the media made them talk even more. Like the media were saying they were going to the Super Bowl. Like,
Man, listen. I remember. I'm not gonna
they
lie.
was on fire all last year, man. It was terrible for them last year.
I remember. I remember that it was a time where I couldn't name to you not one Cardinals player, not one. I swear to God, I don't care. Listen, if you had $1 million in front of me right at this particular time and said name one Cardinals player, I'd have been like David Boston. They'd have been like, nope. I'd have been like, he was on there though. Not what I'm talking about. I cannot tell you what. I don't know who their quarterback is.
Bro,
I couldn't tell you
Fitzgerald, man.
Bro,
Fitzgerald's
I
been
couldn't
there
tell
for
you
forever.
right.
Yeah,
But
I
when you
thought
look
that too.
when you look at them now, you don't remember that stinking path that they had because they did three things right. They got the right coaches in there. That's what they did. That's where it starts at. Leadership. You got to be able to move man in a way that makes them want to run through a brick wall for you.
Right.
The Dallas Cowboys was a terrible, terrible organization. Y'all don't even know. They brought in Jimmy Johnson, got rid of the GM, and took everybody out their way. And guess what? He went out and said, "I'm trading Walker," and everybody's like, "You trading who?" Oh man, bro, get this coach up out of here! And look what it netted him. He went and got players and used them in a certain way. They went on championship runs and became the it factor. We just did the same thing. That's Jake the Snake. Did they have him for real? Was he on the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Dang, that's terrible. I couldn't. I'm telling you, I'd have lost that money. I couldn't name him, bro. I couldn't name a Jacksonville Jaguar. I couldn't name. I remember at one point I couldn't name a Panther. I was like, the Panthers is a football team. I didn't even know they was in the league, bro. I swear they was terrible.
I have another question. Do you think, and Funky Nut said a little bit about this, but I was thinking about it myself. Do you think because Detroit is not such a marketable place that we get some of this from the national media?
No, no, I don't.
No? Okay.
Nope. I think it's not that necessarily the market. I think it's two parts. It's one, our fan base, and two, it's the way that they the media portrays how we treat superstars. That's what's causing us the problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They go first. It was Barry, then it was Calvin, then it was Sue. What next? That's how they do it.
Yep, they do. Anybody else want to weigh on that? I heard some other people.
I'll say that not living in the state of Michigan right now, I kind of see that because, you know, a lot of times when I sit down to a bar and I start talking football with somebody, they want to say, who's your team? And I say the Lions. And then, of course, they say the cliche, I'm sorry. And I'm like, gosh, I wish that somebody would come up with something different to say. But
Right.
when you end up getting like a little bit farther into it, like down here, there is that more negative stereotype even surrounding like if we were to talk about what we've been talking about this entire chat, you know, Snacks, and he didn't want to go there, a lot of people here would say, yeah, I wouldn't want to either. Yeah, I this or I that, because they buy in. And half of these people have never been to Michigan, let alone the city of Detroit. And they base everything that they are saying on the negativity that the media portrays, not just surrounding this team, but surrounding the city as well. So I think living out of state, I actually see, I don't know who said that in the comments now, but I definitely see it. And you know, end up talking to people about it, and you know, that's how the conversation breaks down, and they don't know anything else except for they think negative thoughts about the city, they think negative thoughts about the team. That's it.
You know what, Rachel?
Yeah,
Every time you do this, Rachel, you always have me rethink some stuff, because when I went away to college to play football and they would tell stories about Detroit, I had started noticing that it would happen in like Ann Arbor. And they would be like, in Metro Detroit. No, say Ann Arbor. See, you're giving negative news reports to an area that's at least a good 30 to 45 minute drive away.
Do you know the average person don't even know that Flint is like an hour and a half away from Detroit? They think Flint is in Detroit. So when
Right.
They
They think it's a suburb.
Detroit didn't have water. But I was gonna say about this topic, it's a lot of a negative stigma, and I think it just comes from the fact that we're a blue collar type city. Because I'll never forget when the Pistons traded for Blake Griffin, and Blake Griffin kind of was like, "Oh, I gotta go to Detroit." And when he got here and to Metro Detroit, he's all posting stuff on his social media. Is like, "Wow, there's so much land here, and it's this price and such and such." And it's a lot of situations where people never been in Michigan before, like Rachel said. And once you actually come here, especially with downtown, the way that downtown has completely changed than it was when I was growing up. When you actually come to the city, you're like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought, or isn't what I thought. A lot of people have never really been here before, and specifically talking about now, because I know other players from other parts of the country, they come here and they love it here, mainly because they get the fan support. But it's a lot to do in Michigan. Just like Andrew said, it's 4 seasons. There's a lot of things that people don't know about the city, but our grind and our grit and our tough attitude, even with the teams like the Red Wings was an extremely tough team, and the Pistons were an extremely tough team. Even when the Lions weren't good, we've been tough at times. So it just gives that whole negative dark cloud when you actually haven't been here before. It's like judging somebody from a different walk of life and you don't really even know where they're from. And then the media, when we aren't good, like in the football games, when we aren't a good team, the media just blows that up and just blows it. Like I said, when Caldwell was here, we might not have been winning playoff games or divisions, but they really didn't say much. And Caldwell,
Right.
it was players who had problems with him and everything. It was problems too. They didn't say anything. The moment Patricia gets here, they bring up a freaking I don't even want to
Rape
talk about it,
charge.
but they bring up that
Yep.
case. I don't want to
Yep.
even say the
That
word.
rape
They
charge.
bring up a case, and now it's on national media. It's not even on sports media now. It's on national media that's not even related to sports.
Right now,
Yeah.
it's like, and now the Lions have a head coach that's a rapist, and you're like,
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It's
Right.
it's
Like
like
what?
they were waiting the opportunity for us. I don't want to say for us to f up, but they were just waiting, and now they piling on. Look, Patricia could win a Super Bowls, but at this moment, they gonna pile up on them. I'm telling you, if Quandre Diggs call first take, like, yo, I want to talk about Patricia. Guess what's gonna be the first segment? Like, it's just
Yep.
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
It's just anything, man. It's just a real bad stigma around
Uh,
here, man.
but I think that's what the NFL does. Like I hate believe it or not, y'all. This gonna sound crazy. I hate watching the draft, and the reason I hate watching the draft is because I feel like every person who gets selected got this story, and they never do it across the board for all the players. It's just certain players where they just be like, oh yeah, he lived with his grandmother. His father was never around. I'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What they got to do with football? He here. Tell me what he did at school. He had all A's. Was he a B student? Did he struggle in class? You don't get that. You get the stuff that don't make sense. That's right. He was a gang member, and his brother is his uncle's cousin. And it's like, what do y'all come up with this stuff? They are perpetuating that too much on the media side of it, and I think that's where you're seeing a lot of it come in. That because I'm telling you, when I was in school, I saw some stories that I was like, "That's not Detroit," but they put it on Detroit, and then when something good happened, they'd be like, "In Rochester Hills." I'm like, "Well, oh, now you want to tell me where it's at?"
Yep.
So, it's just weird.
I lived a year in Minneapolis, St. Paul, being a Lions fan, so that kind of sucked. But to see it from an outside perspective when you're living in a different city like Rachel is, and that's even in our own division, it was very negative towards the Lions. I mean, not just the Lions, but the actual city of Detroit. There were so many misconceptions about how terrible it was, crime and all this other stuff over there. And it was more that I had to fight for my state and my area rather than my team, if you know what I mean. And so I think that the stigma of Detroit in other cities around the country has something to do with how they portray the Lions.
Well, I know one thing. They say winning cures all, and I ain't never seen a good team win nothing with a bad coach.
Yeah,
I ain't never
But
seen
look
it.
at the Red Wings, man. They got all the championships. It ain't changed nothing.
No, yeah. And the Pistons
Yeah.
got some championships too. But
Oh,
I
man,
feel
wait.
your pain. I'm in Minneapolis. Yeah, I know your pain, dude.
Man, hey.
well, everybody was just waiting to get to hate on the Red Wings. I mean,
Yep.
Literally, they could not wait. We were like, when Green Bay or the Patriots right now, when those dynasties are over and they're losing, we're all waiting to say something. We're all waiting to be like, how does it feel? I feel like that's how, that's what ends up happening, is that like as great as it all was, and a lot of us are living it as fans, and it feels fantastic. Everybody else is waiting for you to fall. Everybody else can't wait. And now it's back to like, oh, so many people down here, they want to talk so bad about the Red Wings. And I'm like, hold up. Because for the longest time, but I mean, everybody has their ups and their downs, but people are waiting for your down.
Absolutely. I want to start going to questions for the chat. We've been on for quite a while now, so I want to get the questions from the chat. So if you have a question for the panel,
yes,
put it in the chat, please, and then we can start answering something. Go ahead, Luke.
No, I said they like, look, Luke had to get back to the coach. No, that was not a shot at Patricia. Sometimes y'all got to get away from that. That was just saying that, listen, coaching changes everything. In other words, we keep saying we got to win, but in order for us to win, it starts with coaching. And when the coaching goes right, it works. I remember, I remember L. Davis, man. He couldn't pay a coach to come there. He had got rid of so many people because they was getting tired of his attitude. And even with the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, man, you had Troy Aikman say he wouldn't be a GM for them because he don't like the way Jerry do things. Like what? Like it is what it is. In that regard, but I'm not looking at it and saying that I'm not looking at it just saying it's that. Yes, I know players play. I get that. But soldiers are soldiers. You can still make a bad decision and lose your soldiers. So it's the same thing with coaching. So it's not a knock at Patricia. My goal is to have Patricia make me shut the hell up. That's what I want him to do.
That's all right. So we got a question from Ryan. I'm not even attempting that. KJ Hill, 4th round, yes or no? I'll go to Rachel. What do you think? Wide receiver.
I wouldn't be mad. I'm thinking even maybe we could potentially, depending on how our trade back situation looks, I'm still even thinking we could hold out for a wide receiver in the 5th or 6th, because this is just a pretty deep wide receiver class.
Yeah, it is.
So I wouldn't be mad, but I'd say a little bit later if possible, and it doesn't have to be Hill for me. I think there's a lot of good prospects, and I think if we can wait till the 5th or 6th, then that's what I'm looking at.
What do you think, Luke?
No, I agree with Rachel. I don't think that they should be trying to squeeze the receiver in there, because if you do that, you're just gonna make it more like, why did you sign this receiver for $6 million? Like, no. Just
Amendola. I swear, man, when we win the Super Bowl, Luke's still gonna be talking about, but you signed Danny Amendola for
no, listen, if we win the Super Bowl, then I was wrong, and I'm like, cool, I'm happy to be wrong, people. I am. But I'm just saying, like, if we're taking receivers anywhere from the 1st to the 4th, why do we sign Danny Amendola for?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
We signed Danny Amendola for moral support so he can teach the young guys. And, man,
cool.
I know you like to pick on Danny, but we got to remember, Stafford went down half the season. He was solid. It's just that one Arizona out of bounds play. But,
man,
multiple games for me.
Listen. I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna say the same thing.
If y'all got questions in the chat, make sure you guys put any questions. It could be about the draft. It could be about the direction of the team. Any questions that you guys have, make sure you drop them in the chat, and make sure you guys like the video if you haven't already, man.
OMG, it's Lions talk. Do you think we need a left tackle? Yes. In a guard too. In a guard too. And that's why I think that offensive lineman is the second priority past Isaiah Simmons. See, I just think Isaiah Simmons is a defensive coordinator's dream. It is, especially for a guy like Patricia, who likes to run all these crazy fronts. And you don't know what, man. I saw this video the other day. Isaiah Simmons was up in the box, They snapped the ball. This man dropped to the deep third. I was like, wow, and got back there fast enough to where the quarterback had to go. God, where did he come from? So I think he's a person's dream. But I think if he's not there, offensive lineman is now the next highest priority.
Yeah, totally agree. Anybody else want to take this one?
I'm about to say, no, we need a left tackle if you bringing in Kenny Wiggins. Yeah.
Oh my God. Listen.
I'm not gonna get up like this. Kenny Wiggins is probably the worst news I've
No.
heard all year for the Lions.
We need a wheelbarrow to carry him out. Is what we
Man.
It's just like, man,
we draft that.
Oh my God.
So Andrew, what do you
Hook
think
Ham
about
says,
this too?
Oh, go ahead.
About what exactly?
No, about the left tackle position.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor Decker's had his ups and downs, and I would prefer him at right tackle. You know, I think left tackle is a huge importance, especially with Stafford. If he takes one blindside hit, I mean, his career could easily end with how many back problems he's had the past 2 seasons and just stuff that's been happening lately. So I would love to share up that left side and bring Taylor over to the right.
I didn't mean to cut you off, J-Mo. If I did, I'm so sorry.
No, I was reading a comment, and Hook Ham said Lions trade back to 6 and pick a tackle, but pick up a later first round pick. Happy or heated from the panel?
Happy.
Well, last week I would have been heated, but I might change my tone now that
we got anything to prevent Wiggins from playing. Okay, I got.
He said I would have been heated.
It depends on if they're at 6. I mean,
I would have been happy.
But
I'd be happy.
Take an offensive lineman at 6, man, you better be a starter, and I need you to at least be in the running to make the Pro Bowl. Like
Simmons won't drop there, but if he was there, I would not take a tackle.
Simmons he's the end all be all answer to it. I just think the evidence suggests that he's their pick, and I think that they'll refuse to trade that pick. If not, but if they did do that and they took the best offensive lineman available and still got another first, I'm cool because now you can go out and grab some extra parts and stuff. I've always been a believer in being able to get more draft picks, but that's only if my prospect wasn't there. Like the year Sue came out, I don't care what you offered me, I wasn't giving it to you. I needed that.
Yep.
I was so happy when we got Sue.
Nomus, what do you think? Lions trade back to 6. Are you happy or heated if you get a tackle at that spot?
Oh, I'm live happy. I'm gonna be happy. Because again, I'm not even about to put science into it. It's just the right move, man. If you talking about building something and giving your team stability, it starts at the trenches, man. You gotta take offensive lineman, whether it's a tackle or a guard or a hybrid, whatever you're talking about. And then surprise me with the other pick in the first round. Surprise me, but just don't do anything weird because I promise you, even though I love TJ Hawkinson, I still ain't forgave who yet about when I called in last year in the draft. We'll talk about that off there. But I still got my eye open.
All right. We're gonna go to this one. May I ask of a wide receiver if this is the best player available on the board and maybe the 6th best player at the position of need is available? Are you saying? Wow, maybe I can't understand this. I don't know.
So he said
got confused at the end of it too.
Yeah, he said that if you move down to 6 and the best player available on the board is a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And
No.
he said that that's the 6th best player, like that's the 6th most important position for player available for need is you reaching for that need. No. Because I have a hard time with this draft being loaded with so many wide receivers. That receiver is a high need for us. It's almost like a luxury need for us, to be honest with you. But if you're telling me that I can get something else, I'm gonna take something else over the receiver at that point.
Yeah,
and I think receiver is deep, but and I think highly of a lot of these receivers. I think a lot of them will be elite, but there's no like proven like Julio Jones, Calvin Johnson type guy where you're like, you got to take him. He's going to be great. Don't pass on him. I do think there's going to be other players that will be that good, but we don't know. It's not like a done deal. But like Calvin came out, you knew. When Julio came out, you knew. It's no
Yeah.
player at 6 that's like, you have to take this wide receiver because they're that good. And that's why I would not be, inclined to take a wide receiver at 6, even if it's the best player on the board, because it's no Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones type guys where that person is going to be a star.
All right, we're going to take a couple more, and then we're going to have final thoughts. How early would you draft a running back? It depends on where my guy is at. So everybody knows.
Listen, right, Jonathan
Everybody
Taylor.
knows.
And it depends on if we got an extra first or if it's in the second. So if we got an extra first and it's late and you feel like running back is there, I'll take him in the first. I'm okay with that, but I prefer that we take that running back. I really prefer that we take that running back later. I am on team build the trenches. I can't take it no more, man. The Dallas Cowboys did it right. They built the line, they ain't got the running back, they ain't got the quarterback. It makes sense.
It makes sense. How early would you draft a running back there, Andrew?
I've heard this question a couple times in the last couple weeks, and I am not taking a running back this draft. I seriously don't understand the logic in taking a running back early with where we're at as a team right now. So when you look at top running backs in the league, when their O-line plays like crap or they don't have a good O-line, they look mediocre because they can't do crap. So if you're going to invest a high pick in a running back, why don't you invest in a high pick on an offensive lineman that's not only going to help your running game, but will help your passing game? So I'm not taking a running back at all.
That's totally logical. Totally understand that. Oh, it is. It's totally logical. I get it. Okay, Rachel, what about this one? About the running back?
I'm kind of with Andrew on this. I don't see it as being the biggest need. I think you need the other pieces to make it work, no matter how good of a running back you take. And especially not wanting to risk injury to that running back. Kerryon Johnson, I don't think he's a bad running back by any means, but we haven't, he's had a bad go of it. And we're not the best suited team to be looking at running backs that high in the draft. If anything, if there's somebody that they like late, I'm not mad at them, taking a chance on somebody, but it's not on my list of priorities for anywhere within the first 4 or 5 rounds.
Okay. I'm going to tell you why I believe that we should, because I guess my opinion's different. The last time we had a decent running back, say Reggie Bush, we were darn good with Reggie Bush as the threat in the backfield. Javid Best, before he went down with concussion, we were 5-0, and we were crushing teams. It wasn't even close. So I think that threat out of the backfield, the speed that you could get out of a really good running back, would not only help Stafford, but it would make that defense respect that run game even more, that there's a home run threat there. And I think every time we have a solid running game and a solid running back, or a better team for it, especially with Stafford.
Yeah,
listen, I'm never gonna argue about running the ball.
I just feel like that they're just like I said with the receivers. Like when Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley were coming out of college, I'm like, oh, these dudes are gonna be great, and I can tell. When Zeke was coming out of college, I'm like, these dudes are gonna be great. And if I'm taking a running back in the first round, like I love Taylor, I love Dobbins, but they aren't those guys. And I need them to be at that level of talent. If I'm going to take them that high, I would rather just take the highest I would start is 3rd round for a running back personally. I'd rather focus on linebackers and the trenches on both ends. But I just don't know. It's not that – I don't know if it's a running back worth picking that high in this draft.
Listen, I can't argue with that neither.
No.
I can't.
Okay, so this is going to be the last question, and this is for Luke G. What tackles are you looking at?
Willis. You understand, if we're at 3, you're going to walk away with either Chase Young or Simmons. And y'all know I have concerns about Chase Young. But if you're telling me that any possibility they're considering a cornerback, Chase Young is my pick if Simmons is gone. And to me, I would just say that if we go down to 5 or 6 and our guys are gone, I would take almost any of these tackles. The only one that kind of scared me is the Louisville one. I'm drawing a blank on his name because I always botch it. The Louisville guy because he's so big. Becton, yeah, he's the only one that kind of somewhat give me a little pause. But the rest of them, I'm like, y'all went against top competition, and you didn't waver. And I mean, I always am going to judge you based on who were you against the most top competition. But again,
I don't know about Becton though. He literally looks like a human tank.
he do. But you know what's funny about it though? Like, who was his biggest challenge? That's what I like to look at. I want to know who was his.
Sometimes it ain't about that.
No, it is. You listen. He's 6'8". Everybody gonna be underneath him in this pass, so he got to be able to do some things. Like that's not like I get it, but I need to be able to see him.
I agree with you.
You basically saying how agile is he going to be?
Right, because
when you're that physical of a specimen, I feel like you have to find a way to make him good. When he had he's God given, he got a gift in that body that he got. You have to find a way to be able to use him with the body that he has. He's a human tank, man. Like I feel like you can find a way for him to get all of those subtle techniques to become one of the greatest offensive linemen that we have in the generation.
I'm not killing nobody on it. I just said if there was one lineman that give me some pause, like God, who has a chance to be that hot bus, I think it would be him. Because when you that big, man, you get knee problems, man. Ask Shaq. You ever see Shaq feet? Lord Jesus. When you that big, I mean, when you that big, it's different, man. I'm telling you, it's not the same.
Right.
Just saying.
Well, we're going to have to wrap this up, guys. I've been up since 2 a.m., so
agree.
Sleep. So I'm going to go to final thoughts. We're going to start with Nomus.
Oh man, this is a very fun show. Thank you guys for having me on. Everybody, we got the draft around the corner, so we go keep our eyes open. Please don't just get caught in sassy. Let's be this time. Let's wait and see. Let's not let the emotions get too high. Look, everybody knows I want an offensive lineman, especially after the announcements today. So we gonna stay diligent, and God bless everybody in the chat and everybody that's also on this panel with me. Thank you and good night.
All right, let's go to Andrew. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much just going to give my channel a shout out because Real and I are going to be hosting this Thursday's Round Table. So if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, hit that bell button, and also everyone else in the DSA.
All right, Rachel, final thoughts.
Just thanks again for having me. Always fun chatting with you guys. This is a dysfunctional little family, but it's definitely a fun thing to be a part of. And like Andrew said, just make sure you guys subscribe to everybody on here. I know everybody releases their own content, and definitely something for you guys to look forward to and keep up with.
All right, JMO, final thoughts.
What's good, everybody, man? We had a great show as usual. Shout out to everyone in the chat, everyone that came through. And I need to ask everyone in the chat, for the future reference, I see a lot of you guys dropping questions during the show, but when we ask for questions, it's like everybody in the chat disappeared. Come on, we got to do better, guys. I'm for real. Y'all be giving us a full test paper throughout the show, and then we be like, all right, man, we need y'all questions. Y'all like, what is a question, man? I don't know what that is. But shout out to everybody, man. I know it's been some changes in the DSA recently, but we will always be here every week to give you all the content that you deserve. It's always love with everyone that's going on, man. And I just want to say, if Kenny Wiggins make this team, flush the season, flush it. It's over. And y'all laughing, but I remember the last year Neville Lawson was here. I was like, if Neville Lawson is on this team, we ain't gonna be nothing. And what happened? We wasn't nothing. I'm just telling you. So we got to get rid of him and Christian Jones. Man. I love all you guys, man.
All right, I'm going to go next. I want you to subscribe to everyone on the DSA. but especially Andrew and Reel's channel, because they will be hosting on Thursday night. What time do you guys know yet?
We're not quite sure, but it should be later.
Okay. All right. We'll give you that information when it becomes available. Everybody, you know what? I think that everybody has very strong opinions when it comes to our team because we're passionate about our team, and not everybody agrees. But that's what a roundtable is all about, isn't it? That we all have different opinions and different points of view, and we come at it from different stages in life and different ways that we look at things. And I just want everybody to know I respect each and every one of you guys on the panel today, and I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, salute to you. Appreciate it.
For everybody in the chat, we appreciate you coming out and supporting and supporting what we're doing here. And I just want to say the last thing I wanted to say was I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
As always, people, you know, I like to end on a good note. Now, Jay White, who are you, says, notice that they skipped over my question. No, we did not, because we were going to talk about it, and I was going to talk about it. His question was, what did you guys do to Michael, Mike, and TA? Nothing. Okay? This is not a shock to people, and it should not be a shock to people. The Beatles broke up. The Jacksons broke up. New Edition broke up. NSYNC broke up. Groups break up. I love me some Destiny Child at the time. They broke up. Everybody breaks up. That is not an unusual thing. We are still in support of those gentlemen. People will come and people will go, and we will still be in support of them. They're going to talk Lion Sports. We're going to still be on their videos, commenting and talking to them. Still having conversations. They just chose to take their channels in different directions and to do things differently, and we respect those decisions. Now, he said, "You guys are not the Beatles."
I was laughing at that too.
No, hold up. I take that as disrespect. We are the Beatles if we got grown men, professional athletes out here taking our channel names. What you talking about,
right.
They out here trying to get our masters, man. Come on, man.
Right, but it's just that the thing is this, and in every community, there's going to be people who's going to fall out. I mean, there wasn't no fallout on our ends or nothing like that. They just want to do something different with their channel, and we respect their wishes to do something different with their channel. And that's all it is. Now, what does that tell me for a positive note today? Man, we have to be able to remember that there is no greater gift you can give somebody than your support and your love and your respect. That's it. If you are able to just simply tell a person for the day that you appreciate them or you are appreciated, or, hey, today was a day that I just needed you to know that we do care about you. That's what matters. It was nothing else. It was nothing more than you mean something to me today. I just want you to remember that. That is the result of people who understand that you have a respect and a love for each other. So as always, people, please make sure you subscribe to all the members of the DSA. Make sure that you keep it 100 with each other, love each other, respect each other, lean on each other, support each other. Okay? And don't be no chump. Please do your research.
Hey, Don Mule back, not the worst.